Welcome back. I'm Devi, and this is a yin yoga practice at the wall. This is a wonderful practice if you want something that's more restorative, relaxing, very calming, and it's also a great option for those of you who have knee problems that act up in other yin yoga kinds of practices with those seated postures, or if your hips don't like a lot of the seated floor postures, then there will be a lot of alternatives here for you. So go ahead and grab yourself a spot at the wall. You'll want 5 or 6 feet of width and some cushion underneath you, and maybe some pillows nearby. You may or may not want them, but have them just in case. We'll start in a butterfly pose at the wall. So to get into this, come onto your side with your sitting bones near the wall, and then scoot your sitting bones as close to the wall as you can, maybe right up against the wall. As you lie down on your side, you'll swing your legs up the wall, and then bring the soles of your feet together and let the knees open wide. And your hands might want to be on the knees. They could press the knees if it feels good, or the hands could just rest on the floor or on your belly. Let your eyes close and rest here with the sensation of your breath rising and falling in the belly, with the sensation of your back body being supported by the ground, your spine, your shoulders. Let the back of your neck lengthen. And keep on softening and settling and relaxing into this shape, into the earth. And feeling your legs relax, your feet relax with the support of the wall. Feel the angle of your hips. And soften your jaw, soften your face, soften your throat, and maybe a little movement of the head to help you arrive here in your body and arrive with a soft and relaxed spine. Breathing some space into your skull. And now from here, let your eyes open. If they're closed, come into your choice of frog at the wall. So you're simply widening your feet with your knees bent, or dragonfly at the wall. So if you're at a sofa, if you're at the edge of a sofa or bed, then the frog is probably going to work better, but feel free to experiment with some position that gives you a stretch here in the inner thighs. And either bent or straight legs, some positions work better for some people and others work better for other people. And as we move into this wall practice further, I want you to get used to this very advanced yoga practice called the scooch. Scooching away from the wall or toward the wall. And I'm using my elbows on the ground because your distance from the wall is pretty important here to get that right. And so I'm gonna just feel it out for my frog pose, because that's what I'm gonna hold right now. And I wanna be, a few inches away from the wall for my body, but you might wanna be closer or farther away. Some people like this with knees more bent or less bent. And again, hands could be on the belly, they could be out to the sides, they could be over the head, whatever feels good to you as you relax here. So 3 minutes in this groin stretching shadow pose at the wall. And if you're in this position with feet on the wall, then play around with the angle of your feet on the wall. Maybe your toes are more out, maybe they're more up. That's also quite different for different people's bodies. Mine, I know, tend to go out a little more than other people. And that has more to do with my ankles and the way they're structured than any particular flexibility. So settling in for a few more long, deep, steady breaths. And releasing now, coming into figure 4 pose next. So taking your right ankle over your left knee. And again, you might want to scooch away from the wall or closer to the wall. I'm going to come farther away. Some people like to have their hips quite close to the wall, which creates more bend in the knee here. And others like to do the opposite, more like what I'm going to do, which is closer to a right angle with this knee. So there's not any best or better way, it's different for everyone, and we're just going for this stretch of the right glutes. Maybe you narrow the distance between your knees and cross that foot farther over, or maybe you keep it wide. That's yet another variable to play around with. So 3 minutes on each side here. And you may wish to close the eyes as you settle in. Feel your breath. And feel your body softening into the shape. The wall practice is a wonderful opportunity to move into your practice more gently, with a more kind of refined awareness. So the stretches tend to be less intense. It's less of a less of an aggressive stretch that sometimes is what the mind wants to adhere to, is something more aggressive or stronger. But here we have this opportunity to have a milder sensation that the mind can then relax into. And so if you notice your mind sort of wandering off, drifting off into dreamland, just keep on bringing it back to what's happening here, what's happening now in this body, this breath that you're taking right now. And very slowly release, and very slowly change to the second side. Left ankle over the right knee. And those who are enjoying the modified versions of the postures, just know that this pose at the wall could be done anytime in another yin class where any of the outer hip glute stretching poses are being done. So if there's a square pose being done, or a shoelace pose, or a sleeping swan or pigeon, you could do this pose instead to affect the same target area. And that's how we work functionally. That's how we do our functional yoga. We think about what we're trying to stretch, what is the purpose of the pose, and then choose the pose from there. Continuing to soften into the inhale and the exhale as you come into greater awareness of your body. And whether to flex the foot or not here is a very individual choice. If it makes you more comfortable to flex the foot or gives you a better stretch, go for it. If you'd rather just stay more yin and more relaxed, then let the foot be relaxed. And releasing. And now just roll over onto your right side. So you're on your side and your knees are making about a 90-degree angle here. So your hips are about shins distance from your wall. And now take your right knee, if you're on your right side, right knee comes down toward the wall. And so what we're moving toward is a lunge at the wall. And you can be up on this elbow. And it's also going to start to become a twist as we open the left shoulder back. Maybe take the left hand behind the back. Or if you want to start moving it toward this modified cattail pose at the wall, then you're taking your right arm through and starting to open the left arm back. Or if it's too much, if the arm doesn't really rest there, you could use a pillow, or you could just have the hand on the hip. And here's another option, is that if you want to get your arm to the ground and the back and the shoulder just aren't quite resting yet, then voila, you can take this foot up the wall and start to rearrange the rest of your body into the twist, because this leg is your lever for your pelvis. And now, last tip is that you don't have to be straight out from your wall. You can be angled slightly over. And so some people find that if you angle toward the right, then it's a little easier to use the wall in this way. You can play around with if the right knee is farther back along the wall, maybe more toward a lunge kind of position, and maybe that foot comes straighter out. So all these different ways of arranging our limbs to find a nice twist with the help of the wall. Very good, releasing and rolling over to the other side. So we've got the left knees coming over to the left, and then coming into this lunge with the right foot coming in front of you, the left knee starting to travel back, and you can come up onto the left elbow and maybe stay here, maybe start opening it back like this, or maybe threading that left arm through and coming all the way back. And the option to walk that leg up the wall, the option to inch your torso over toward the left a bit if that helps you to anchor into the wall, and the option to send that leg farther back. And some of you, if you do the cattail easily and want to grab a hold of that foot, this is a wonderful way to experience the cattail pose, which is a twist as well as a back bend. And even if you're not holding the foot, you've got those two things going on here, a twist and a back bend. Support under the head may be helpful if you feel like you have ended up in a position where your neck is kind of tweaked or you can't lengthen the back of your neck. Your breath becomes steady and smooth. And slowly releasing back to the center, and now over to the right side again. So rolling onto the side, and last time we took the top leg forward, now we're doing the opposite. So your bottom leg, which is your right leg, comes forward, your left leg back, and start up on the elbow once again. The knee comes back, so this is more for the front of the hip and thigh. This is our lunge, but at the wall. And you can stay up on the elbow. I've got my left hand on the hip, it can be wherever. Or you can come on down and maybe have some support under the head, which is what I like to do here. Same option to play around with your angles. You can angle toward your right foot more, which will be less of a back bend, or angle away from your back foot more. So this is an excellent modification for those who, when you come into a lunging position, you have discomfort or pain in the knee. And that's something that my knee challenged students often don't have too many options for back bending, and this is a back bend. This is an asymmetrical back bend, especially getting into this area, the front of the hip, the front of the thigh. It's an important range that when your knees start to give out, especially later in life, it becomes more important to get more creative and exploratory about other ways to stretch this part of the body. So I've ended up on my back here, which sometimes happens to me in this pose. Again, you have the option to stay on the elbow or rest on your side here. And lastly, there's also the dragon tail, where you could hold that foot behind you or place a strap around the foot. And for the last couple breaths, see about extending your left leg farther back, top of the left foot sliding against your wall, farther back behind you. All right, bring it back around to the center. Now you could keep your legs nice and wide how they are to make your switcheroo. Your left knee to the ground, your right knee coming down toward the ground, and arrange yourself starting on the elbow if that helps, with this knee coming back in space, right knee back in space, and then maybe settling down onto the side of the head with or without a pillow, maybe opening it back, but keeping your focus on getting the stretch in the target area, the front of the thigh and the front of the hip, this time on the right side, and finding this asymmetrical back bend on the right side of the body. If you want more sensation, you can take the right knee farther back. You can angle your torso away from the wall and more toward the right. You can use this left foot to press into the wall. And slowly coming out of it, slowly making your way to the wall, once again for legs up the wall. So you can do your scooch or you can come into it on the side. Sometimes that makes it easier to get into legs up the wall, to lie on the side first and then get the sitting bones back to the wall and then swing the legs up from there. And as we explore a few minutes in this pose, you can stay in this simple legs up the wall pose, or begin to explore inverting by placing the feet on the wall and starting to tuck the tailbone and lift the hips up. And so some of you might have a better experience with this if you scooch away from the wall first and then lift up. And so this might be as far as you go with this little bit of lifting. You can come up and down and explore the sensations in the spine, or you might move it toward some version of a shoulder stand or a plow. So you could begin to tuck the shoulders under you for this wall-supported shoulder stand, or take one leg over the head, maybe both legs over the head. Hands could stay at the back or come up over you. And if that's more than you want to venture into today, then both feet could stay at the wall, or just maybe one at a time, exploring a leg coming over. And sometimes some people like to just roll up and down, feeling different sensations up and down the upper spine. If this is too much, again, you could just stay on the ground, hips on the ground, with a nice, easy legs up the wall pose. And now settling your hips down if you had them lifted, and we're going to finish out this wall practice with 3 minutes at the wall. So again, maybe your sitting bones are right up against the wall, or maybe you're away from the wall a bit for a less steep angle of the legs, and your hamstrings will tell you. If it's really intense in the hamstrings, then please do scoot your hips back so that you can just relax here and feel more like a shavasana meditative state than an intense stretching state. Your arms might be angled out to the sides at any comfortable angle, or over the head, cactus arms, or straight up. Or it might be nice to just rest the hands on the belly and feel the breath here. And noticing what's here, noticing what's present for you. Near the end of this practice of gentle wall stretches, notice what you're feeling inside of your body. Notice the energy moving inside of your body, especially the lower back, the pelvis, the hips, and the thighs, which are the areas that this practice has mostly focused on. And with your next exhale, gently start to stretch out your arms and legs. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And bend your knees, roll over onto one side, and make your way up. And that is our practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this wall practice, and if you did, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other yin yoga videos. Also, if you have a comment, leave it below. I'd love to hear what you thought of this practice and if there was anything that was particularly helpful or challenging for you. Let me know, and I'll see you next time.